What's up, community? Just wanted to film this Loom video and just kind of like do a brain dump because I just got off of a masterclass, a workshop that I am attending right now, in this effort, in this era of like learning and continually improving myself. And I wanted to share my thoughts. I just need a space to just kind of share my thoughts, my biggest takeaways, and what I'm going to do to implement this and how this can be able to help you as well. But also, if you're watching this, like as I'm filming this Loom video, how you can be able to participate in this with me as well. So let me tell you about this masterclass I'm doing. Some of you have heard me talking about this coach, but this coach, Stephanie Hewson, she's on Instagram and she goes by the handle of it's XO Gingy. So feel free, if you haven't followed her, give her a follow because this is a coach that I feel really resonated with, and her content is probably the best that I've ever experienced, in the sense that she's got her message dialed in, someone that I can really study, but also just the energy, her energy through her content is something that really vibes with me. And if you vibe with me, you'll definitely vibe with her as well. But her business growth is like insane. She's making like multi six-figure months. And she's doing a masterclass right now, 3-day masterclass. Today was the first day, which I feel like I should have like shared this with you all a lot earlier, but I just found out about this really recently, but it's not too late. If you want to attend, the calls are tomorrow and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So it's really early for me. I made it a commitment to wake up early, and it's only 9 o'clock right now, and I've been awake for 3 hours, and I took a walk while listening to this whole live workshop, and it was really, really nice. And highly recommend you join. So if you want the link, I will include the link underneath this video to opt into this. There is a free Facebook group as well associated with it. I know I'm kind of like promoting this, but it's completely free. So there's really no risk in doing this. There's a free Facebook group in here as well. And today's workshop was talking about the first era, and this workshop's about she talks about her different eras in her business growth. Today's era was about the possibility era, like your anything is possible era. And that is the first, that was what she described as like the first era that she went through. And everything that she said in there really resonated with me. And what I wanted to do in here was not necessarily just recap my biggest takeaways, but share how those takeaways have applied for me and my story, and give you an insight on what my journey actually was. Like, this journey has only been 4 years of doing the coaching. I've been teaching piano since 2017. That's when I started college. So being in this music education journey, like, I'm only 7 years in, but I have had an insane amount of growth, and there's a reason why there's so many of my clients have always said like, man, I wish I learned this when I was in my 20s and things like that too. So I wanted to share the journey on like how I've kind of overcome that, and kind of use this video as like a brain dump for myself, because I just wanted to get everything out there. So the first thing is like connecting it to, you know, what you might be going through and what I went through as well in the beginning. Especially when I was teaching in my piano studio, like before I quit teaching piano, I was going through a lot of this, and this is something that I put inside my content dashboard. I wanted you to see what my dashboard actually looks like. And a lot of these fears, frustrations, wants, and aspirations, my messaging that I put inside of my content really comes from data. Like data that I have gotten from my sales calls, quotes that I have listened to and rewritten word for word in here, but also my DMs. So that's why it's really important for us to be aware of what are our prospects saying in the DMs and in the sales calls, because we're not going to be just working off of what we think. but what we know, what we have actually heard. So for you, I know you might be going through some of these frustrations and some of these fears yourself, right? Like I want to be more profitable, but I'm feeling burnt out. I feel like I'm working at my work, like at my capacity. It's unmotivating to grow because I want to take on more students onto my schedule, but I don't want to take on more students onto my schedule, but I need more income, right? Does more students equal more work for you right now? And of course, that's why you're all in here, is to be able to adopt your own hybrid model and be able to find your path to being able to not just skyrocket your income, but be able to do it in a way that really aligns with who you want to be as well. But also right now, you might be there's different seasons in business. You may be in a really good growth season where you're feeling a lot of momentum, but a lot of times that momentum is not sustained. That momentum doesn't go away. And of course, it's not important on being the perfect teacher and being the perfect studio owner where you're always feeling this momentum and feeling this growth, but it's being aware of how are you feeling right now, right? What is the energy that you are living through in this moment? The awareness to capture like how you are feeling and pivot into momentum, into growth, is going to be the key to being able to make more money with your music school. So right now you might be in a good spot, but also maybe right now you're in a spot where you feel stuck. You feel like you're doubting yourself. You feel like nobody is buying, and you start to feel defeated, you start to feel frustrated. But the insecurity and the imposter syndrome takes over. And I've been through the same thing. I still go through the same thing, even to this day. And the reason why I wanted to film this video is because I want to really step back into my era of possibility and my era of making it happen. Because my story is it's insane. I don't feel like it is. She's talking about in the workshop, Steph was talking about how her journey was very it's very illogical how her journey happened. And when I think about my story and my life, it is very illogical how it happened. It shouldn't happen. Someone in my place, I shouldn't be in the stage that I'm at right now, where I'm really happy and I'm really grateful for the business growth that I've had, and the experiences that I've had. But I have to remember and be aware to take gratitude in the fact that I am living a life that I love already, in as early as I am in my life. I get to work with amazing teachers, amazing musicians who are way more experienced than I have. I get to teach something that I'm really passionate about, business, but also music as well. But also outside of my life, outside of my coaching life right now, I'm making moves. I'm really developing my music production career, my DJ career. I'm getting a lot more consistent gigs. I've been putting out a lot of music consistently as well, and I feel really proud about everything that I am putting out there. Despite having those things, right? I'm still human. I go through those doubts. I go through those insecurities. The imposter syndrome still gets to me. But I hope by sharing this, I show and I inspire you that it's not about not having that imposter syndrome. It's not about not making those mistakes, but it's about being aware of when I am in that phase of imposter syndrome. How do I get back into this era of possibility, right? I wrote here, in this era, one of my takeaways was that in this era, the who overrides the how. And this is so important because as I am coaching you, I'm going to share you, of course, how to do things, but I challenge you to step into and asking yourself, who am I needing to be in this moment in order to make it happen? Because lots of times there's not going to be a simple how to do everything to get you to the result, right? And your situation may be completely different than someone else's in this community, where you're launching a new offer and you're pitching it to students, but they're not biting. Nobody is being able to. Nobody is wanting to buy. Who are you going to be in that moment, right? Who are you going to step into to make it happen, right? Maybe you're going into the summer feeling anxiety because students might leave during that. Who are you going to be? What kind of leader are you going to be to those students to make sure that, they want to stay in the studio during the summer? Who you are going to be overrides the how, right? I can share you all of the how stuff of what I have done, but is it necessarily going to work with you? Maybe, maybe not, right? But what is always going to work for you is you energetically being who you need to be. And when you step into that era, when you step into that zone of, okay, I'm going to be the person that shows up. I'm going to be the person that is able to create a 6-figure music school. You're going to know the right moves to be able to get there. You're going to know how to get there just naturally, just innately, because you're going to trust your instinct. You're going to trust your intuition there to be able to get there. Along with that, I also wrote here, you don't need the perfect plan. You just need to be courageous, right? I don't have the perfect plan to creating a 6-figure studio, but my plan that I give you, that I give to all my clients, is my way of thinking on how I've gone to trust myself and what I have done in my journey through that as well. And same thing goes with your teaching, right? For your students, the things that you teach them, it's not going to work for everyone, but you know that it has worked for you. Therefore, it can work for someone else as well. So when you are teaching and when you are growing your music school, trust yourself enough to go after it. Like, trust yourself enough that you don't need to know how to do things, that you will just move forward, and that you will get to the result because you are determined to get there. And that has been like my story as well. It's like, when I started this business, I don't even remember if I had an income goal in mind. I remember I started this coaching business as a desperation to make more money because I was so burnt out teaching piano. Like, that is how it originated. That I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make more money teaching piano because I am so busy right now. But for some reason I was like, but I'm going to take on more coaching clients. So I was like, so it didn't really make sense, like, logically, where I was like, okay, you want to make more money, but then you're going to take more, you say you don't have any time, but you're going to make the time to do something else to make more money. Like, it didn't make sense, but I did it anyway. And I remember there was a program out there called consulting.com, created by a coach called Sam Ovens. And he's kind of like a really big, he's kind of like a legend in the industry, but he had a course called like Consulting Accelerator or something like that. Luckily, my coach, my mentor at the time, that was connected to me during when I was doing an entrepreneurship program at SDSU. He gave me his logins for the course. So that was my first experience into like high ticket coaching. And I went through the course and I binged it. Like, I just like started learning. And that's what I recommend for you all too. Like, just be exposed to people that you want to be like, being able to just drown in content and learning by exposure. That's something that I did in the very beginning. When I reconnected with my music production coach, because he used to be one of my clients, I reconnected with him. I bought one of his course before I started taking lessons with him. I bought his course and I went through the whole entire thing. And I started applying that to my own songwriting first. So before I started getting coaching from him again, I went through his own course. I learned on my own, but I trusted myself that I didn't need him in order to make moves, in order to make progress with my musical like skills. But I went through his course and I just did it myself. And after I hit another plateau where like, I know the information now, I get how you coach. I want to be your client now. It made the coaching process so much more fun, so much easier for him. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but he did say I was one of his best students. So, so, so I can say that with confidence because like I really came into it just really being able to have fun. So again, kind of recapping that point, who am I going to be is a lot more important than how am I going to get there? What do I need to do in order to get there? So ask yourself, who do I need to be? Next point here, courage, confidence, and conviction is not defined by anything outside of me. And oftentimes, we shame ourselves because we're not making the money that we want to make. We shame ourselves because we're not at the size that we want to be compared to other music school owners. And oftentimes that shame and that anxiety and that fear stops us from being able to move forward. And it happens to me again. It happens to me as well. But what we have to remember is, one, staying detached from the outcome, but also step back into that era where you first started your music school, right? Remember that time when you first started teaching. I know for some of you, it may be longer than how long I've been alive. But when I think about when I first started teaching piano, I literally had no idea how to teach. It was back in 2017, and this was like right after I graduated high school, before my first semester into college of being a music ed major. And I remember being like how am I going to learn to teach in a book or in a classroom, right? I was that person that dove headfirst into things, and I know, just knowing myself, I learned a lot more from experience. So I remember when the first opportunity to teach a student came up, I was like, sure, I'll do it. And I didn't really know how. I made a lot of mistakes, and the only thing that I hoped and that to happen was that this first student just falls in love with music. And I think I did that. I had that student for at least like 2-3 years, and it was a fun time. But I did make a lot of mistakes. I did learn, but I remember it being so fun. And I remember when I was getting a student after student. I remember during COVID when I didn't know like if I was going to even keep teaching, right? Like that was when my studio boomed. I got like 10 plus students from a single post. I didn't even know how that was possible, but it happened. And the only thing that I was really led with before the results were even there, before I even had my first student, was I needed that courage. I needed that confidence. I needed that conviction to make it happen. And, when we think about our studios now, when we think about our studios now versus when we first started, right? Is our level of courage and confidence the same level that we had in the beginning when we bet on ourselves, when we didn't have any students, but we were just going to be like, no, I'm going to make it happen. Maybe some of you used to teach public school and you're starting your studio and you're wanting to go all in on that, right? Like when you first started to transition out of that and into the studio now, but maybe you're in the scaling period, like how exciting was it for you to start your studio? How can we get that excitement back now where we're having fun again? We're detached from the outcome. But remember when every little thing that happened excited you. Remember when you first got your first inquiry, like how excited you were. Remember when you first got your first student, when you had your first student recital, like how excited were you just to have that happen because you just love the process? How can we get back into that? Who do you need to be in order to step back into that power as well? I know that for me, I need to find that magic again when it comes to the business thing, because I've done this whole business thing for 4 years so far. I feel like it's become a routine, but I have to remember I'm still a beginner and I still don't know everything and I'm still learning. That's why I'm doing this masterclass and attending it as a student as well, because I'm constantly learning. And for me and my music, I also wanted to show you kind of like my music journey as well. I've talked about it a lot in the one-on-one calls and in my in the community calls, but my music journey, my production, and my DJ journey only started at the beginning of 2023. And I remember at the end of 2022, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to step back into music, because before then, I hadn't been able to play music in an organized way since COVID happened. Literally, like I was set to perform in Symphony Hall. Like I passed an audition to be a part of a percussion quartet that where we like the Wind Symphony was going to play a percussion quartet with four percussionist solos, and a Wind Symphony accompanying this entire like concerto. I was set to play that, and I was so excited. And all of a sudden, COVID happened, and everything stopped. Everything took a halt. And I remember I was so devastated, because I was like, that was my chance. Like that was my opportunity. And like I worked so hard for that role in that audition. And I remember hearing the news that I got it, and I was so excited. And then COVID happened, and everything went to a stop. And I didn't have that fire of being a musician again since then. And I kind of lost that magic. And I made a commitment that I wanted to be a musician again and to practice what I preach, especially to my clients. So I started making music again. And this is something I hadn't done. Like producing wasn't something I had done since high school. And I started this YouTube channel as a way to keep myself accountable. And this started like in the middle of last year. Let me see this exact date. 11 months ago, April 30th. So a little bit before April 30th, probably like February, March-ish, I started taking the course from my music production coach. And then I started taking lessons. And I remember when I started taking lessons, I was like, I want to hold myself accountable. And I started this YouTube channel because I wanted it to be kind of like my diary, and to be able to show myself of all of the work that I can be able to put in. But also, like, I had different reasons for it. One, I wanted to look back and be like, this is all my hours. Here's my 10K hours that I put in, and that nobody could argue with that. But two, that I wanted to kind of document and journal my songwriting process, my production process, so that today, like, what is this? It's April. Wait, hold on a second. What is it? April 10th? When did I do this? April 30th. We're almost a year in. That's pretty crazy. We're almost a year in, and this is exactly the time where I wanted to take a look back on one of my first videos and see my production process and see how it's changed, and just see my overall growth, because all of this is very internally motivated. Like, I don't do this for anyone other than myself, because I just want to strive for excellence. Like, striving for excellence in every single thing that I do, whether it's business or music. Like, I want to show myself that it is possible to do that. And I use this as a journaling process. And when I first started this, it was like 50 subscribers, and now I have almost 350. And it's grown from no promotion. I don't market this channel at all. People just find it. I just do my stuff. People just find it. And that shows the power. And when I first, this is just a recent example of the courage, confidence, and conviction that I have in my own music and in my own process to just show up. So this is not something that I just had in the beginning of building my studio years ago and stopped, but it's something that I am continually doing in the eras of my life right now. So I wanted to share this because it's something I'm really excited about. It's something that I am applying right now. But I feel like right now I have a lot more of that funness, detachment from the outcome, conviction, courage, confidence in my music side than in my business side right now. And I know that I need to grab that back and create the fun again. And that's where you all come into play as well, like allowing me to have fun with the community, allowing me to do things spontaneously. all, you know, the receptiveness and the reciprocity that you give me and your energy responding to these things is what's going to help me be able to continue being the leader that I need to be for you all. So I wanted to show this, but this shows the power in just being able to show up. And I remember I get really excited, like every new subscriber that I get from this, because genuinely, I do not know how these people are finding me. Like, I'm doing everything in my power to hide these videos, and people are finding it. I can kind of think of it that way. But it's crazy because this video here has 11K views, and I think it's because of the SEO. Like, I put in like my favorite artist in the title here, and people are finding it just by that. But what's crazy about it is, like, look at this. Like, this has 11K views. I linked this is just a stream, a 2.5 hour stream of me working on like one of my biggest songs right now, actually. And I linked the song here. But before I even linked it, people were just finding the song by searching it up on SoundCloud. This song has, let's see. Please show up. This song has 4K plays, which I don't know how. I don't know how. And it has a lot of comments on it too. But that gives me the confidence in one, knowing that, like, okay, I know my stuff. Like, I can actually make good music. It's very validating to see that. But this, you know, this has helped me with my mindset on content creation as well. Like, this comment, I've learned so much from your videos. Like, this person has watched my videos like more than one. That's pretty crazy. I'm not even promoting this. I'm not even like trying to promote this, but I know it's not your goal, but it really helps me a lot. Just keep it up, right? Just being able to show up without any expectation of anyone seeing this has created results like this. And these are not just vanity like likes and views and stuff like that. Those are, in my eyes, vanity metrics. I do not care about how many likes I get in my future streams or anything, but it has created results, and the results have come in the form of people listening to my music, people following it. But in my Instagram as well, I have gotten followers from it. People have been following me on Instagram. But what's crazy about it is that I have gotten at least 3 people, producers, not even 3, 4 producers that have come from this YouTube video, that has reached out to me on Instagram. We've connected, and now they are an essential part in my music network, right? And these people came up to me like without me having to do anything. And these people found me, but they resonated with my energy. They resonated with someone who's able to show up as well. And what's cool about it as well is that from those 4 so far, I have collaborated and created music with 2 of them as well. And just being able to be the person that shows up, making that commitment to myself, has helped me over this past year of being really proud of my work. And at the end of the day, if I don't become a professional producer or DJ, like, I'm really happy with the progress that I've made so far. Over this past year, I committed myself to making a new song every week. I did that for 26 weeks, half a year straight of just making a new song every single week. Like, I was able to show myself that I could do that. And over this past year, I've released I've released 32 songs, and I literally just released this one. I put on Spotify this week. So I'm still making music to this day. Right now I'm focusing a lot of like my performance and DJing and trying to get myself out there as that. But the energy that I have with this directly translates to the business part as well. That's why I am so convicted in the fact that when you work on your music, that energy will translate to the business. When you fulfill the music side, you fulfill the business side as a result as well. Same thing with the business. When you fulfill the business side, it fulfills the music side as well. So it's not a one or the other, but is a both and, right? You have to do both. You have to fulfill all sides. You have to be aligned in all parts of your life if you want to grow the business, because the business is part of your life. So I want to share that. That's my journey of like my music right now and how excited I am with my music. Let me see my notes here real quick. I know that I'm like 30 minutes in. That's crazy. I wrote here the who overrides the how. Also, your income is determined by how connected you are to the magic. Have fun in your music school, please. When you are, I've heard so many teachers like get really stressed out about the hybrid model. Like, oh man, what is it? Like the biggest fears, and of course these fears are very valid, right? The fears of, are my students going to want to transition to this model, right? Am I going to lose like half my studio if I do this? And also, am I going to be able to deliver the same quality of teaching in this new model, right? Those are the two biggest fears. And if you're feeling that way as you transition into a new offer, into a new model, give yourself grace. Like allow yourself to be aware that it's okay to feel that way, right? It's normal to feel that way. If you're not feeling that way, then you have a high amount of delusion, which is cool too, which is awesome. Like I'm all for it. But it is about stepping back into that excitedness of how are you feeling when you first started your studio? How can you step back into that magic? How can you step back into that energy now, today? And into this new era where you're starting your hybrid model, you're starting a new offer, like be really excited about it. How can I be really excited? If you're not excited by it, by your offer, you're not excited to share it, then we need to find something to be able to do that. But your income is going to be connected to how can you get that fun again, right? How can you step back into that magic? How can you step back into that time in your life where you did not care about the results? You were just so excited to be in the process, right? And the same thing goes with your music. You don't have to be a professional musician to make a lot of money in music. That you've shown yourself that already with growing your music school. But oftentimes we hit a plateau, we get stagnant, we start to lose that magic, we start to lose that feeling, we start to feel like feeling anxiety, feeling stress is normal when it doesn't have to be, right? It like you blew up your music school because you were having fun with it. It was just something that you were proud to share, and we need to be able to do that again. Who are you going to be? Who are you going to be to be able to do that and to be able to step back into that energy? A couple more things. One, illogical belief plus aligned action is the equation to equal massive amounts of growth in your income. So again, illogical belief, believing that it is possible to do anything in your music school, it is possible to do anything in your life. I'm continuing to step into the delusion. I have to remember, like, sometimes I step back and step out of it and I step back into it. But I'd rather live a life where I'm delusional. I feel like super confident with everything, even if the results are there or not. I'd rather live my life that way, right? I don't want to be living my life in a stressful environment where I'm just thinking about the money all the time. I just want to be able to have fun, and you can be able to do that as well. But having that belief and that unwavering action, despite not having what you want, is the key. And aligned action is the key. Doing the actions that are aligned with who you need to be, becoming that irresistible music teacher is the key. Because you can't just have the belief, you need to have the action as well to turn it into reality. So believing that anything is possible, having that delusion, allowing yourself to be delusional with it and almost be like, this is my world. I am going to create my world. I'm just going to, anyone outside of my world or anyone that I meet is inside of my world. It's kind of like that. Like, does a main character syndrome, have a healthy amount of it. But also aligned action as well, because you can believe things. And I've been through these phases as well, where I have high amounts of belief, but I don't do anything. That's not actually believing. Like, actually having belief and faith is being able to take that action, make the moves, even if you don't know where you're going to go. Even if you don't know what to do, even if you don't know what the road looks like ahead, you're still going to move forward. Right? Am I going to continue sending friend requests because I know I need to do that, even though like I haven't gotten the results yet? right? Are you going to continue to post content even if you feel like nobody is watching and nobody is engaging? Are you going to keep leading out of a place of courage, even if right now you don't feel that, right? It's about continuing to have faith in the process, trusting yourself, having faith in yourself that you will make it happen if you just continue to move forward. That is the key. And as a result, right, even if you don't get to the result, as a result of following the process, you create a great life. And that was the last thing I took out of this is like, this is the perfect equation to creating a great life. And for me, being 25 already, like I do have to continue to find gratitude in that I get to go on a vacation with my family still. I get to wake up and film this video and talk about this and be able to lead like this as my job. And that I am fortunate enough that have that other teachers believe in the same vision that I do as well. And and even if I don't get to my dream goal of getting to 100K a month, to being a professional producer, to like performing at the biggest festivals, like all I know is that like I'm living a great life right now. Like the moments that I have experienced like in my business of getting my first student, of being able to look back on all of this piece of content and be like, I did this. Like, that I like have made my mark on this industry. Like, even though I'm still at the beginning stages, like I'm very grateful for that. And that energy of gratitude is what's going to propel me to move forward. So hope this inspires you. Just wanted to be able to share that. 36 minutes. That's pretty crazy. Hopefully you've watched it. If you watched this whole thing, like feel free to comment below this video. Possibility. Comment this video possibility if you reach the end. But appreciate you, and I will see you soon.